Hello, you're watching Niaga AWANI with your host Nina Rozman, and for today's first topic, with Malaysia continues to strengthen its position as a leader in innovation and technology in the ASEAN region. With key strengths in AI communication and the digital economy, Malaysia holds significant potential for tech-driven growth. Despite challenges in innovation and commercializations, efforts are underway to overcome these barriers. Malaysia's presence at the Mobile World Congress MWC Barcelona 2025 is an opportunity to showcase its success and forge global collaboration. And for that, I welcome you, our guest, Dato' Rais Hussein Muhammad Arif, the Chief Executive Officer Meranti. I want to say thank you very much, Dato', for joining me. Firstly, we can see that Malaysia has been positioning itself as a regional leader in innovation and technology. What key strengths set Malaysia apart as a gateway to innovation on the global stage?
I think we can look from 6 different dimensions when we talk about how we set apart from the others with regards to gateway to innovation. Firstly, we look at the strategic location and market access, or ASEAN scalability. We are actually positioned at the heart of ASEAN. Malaysia serves as a key hub for cross-border trade and innovation, offering access to close to 680 million strong market, and 65%, a whopping 65% of whom are under 35. This strategic advantage makes the nation an ideal test bed for regional tech solution. And we must remember our Global Innovation Index, GII ranking, 33rd in 2024, and best performance since 2016, validates progress. But there are gaps in knowledge and technology outputs, highlight the need for stronger R&D to market pipeline. I think this is the first dimension that we need to look into carefully. The second dimension is the strategic active neutrality and balanced partnership. Malaysia has been always in the centerpiece and trading nation, and we practice active neutrality. We accept everything that is good, whether it's east, west, or anywhere. And we act in the best interest to attract the right FDIs, right technology to this country in our best interest. And that also makes us as a regional hub powerhouse. The other dimension, which is the third dimension, is the resilient digital economy with cross-sector potential. If you look at Malaysia recently, our technology sector has seen massive investment. Just the digital economy to a projected US $31 billion in gross merchandise value by 2024, a 16% increase from the year. I mean, this is a massive increase, yeah? Yes, this is before Trump, and even after Trump, so long we are in the trajectory of active neutrality, we are perfectly all right. This growth further reinforced by substantial FDIs that came to Malaysia through all the data centers that not only sprawling in Johor, but it's also all across the peninsula, including Selangor. The data center boom, I just talked about that, and then government initiative and achievement. Programs like My Digital, the National AI Office, and the MyStreet framework all demonstrate a continuous, strong, straight-level commitment. And TIPM, or Meranti, Malaysia's premier innovation facilitator, why I do say that, that is our core business of accentuating innovation across Malaysia. And the sixth dimension we are looking at, we have taken up the ASEAN Chairmanship in 2025, beginning January. If you remember, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim have spoke about the 7 strategic thrusts. 2 of it was digitization or digitalization and sunrise technology. I think these 6 dimensions are important dimensions to be considered, and the strength that set us apart from other countries to become a gateway to innovation.
These are the 6 dimensions that sets Malaysia apart in innovation at the global stage, and with rapid advancement in AI communication and digital economy, and one of the 6 dimensions that you mentioned previously is the cross-sector potential. So what are the most promising sectors for Malaysia's tech-driven growth? How can we support these industries to scale and compete globally?
If we look at the ways and means to support these industries to scale compete globally, we must understand that AI is going to be, already is a core growth engine. It is estimated AI could add $155 billion US dollars to Malaysia's GDP by 2030. Not just revolutionizing manufacturing, but also sectors like healthcare, agriculture, and finance. We all know in agriculture, we lack a lot of things that we need to do. There's a lot of serious gaps. We still import 98% of our dairy product requirement. We import 85% of our meat requirement. We import even 73% of the chili requirement. Forget not the brass. So here we have done some studies before. For instance, when I was in a different agency, we did a study using IoT in agriculture. It clearly increased the output by 33%, the yield by 33%, and the revenue by 22%. This is massive. And then healthcare. We need to deploy a federated learning, a machine learning approach that enables multiple devices on organization to train the model collaboratively. I think that's very key. Yeah? And we want to have a specific time, and we want to be speed to provide the treatment and all that. So in our role, obviously the key enablers will be invest in AI research, artificial intelligence research. As we speak, we talk about artificial generative intelligence, artificial agentive intelligence. And these are things that's progressing so fast. What started with few thousand microcomputing capabilities today is 75 trillion. And the size of that chips are the size of a mobile phone. Things have changed massively. A robust digital infrastructure is important, balanced regulation. There should be ethical AI, data privacy, fairness. And this is a way to pave the way for new industries and high value jobs. And our role, Technology Innovation Park Malaysia or Meranti, providing AI-ready testbeds. We have the National AI Office, ensures aligned AI governance, while we at TIPM, NTI's AI Sandbox, which was launched sometime last year, support startups, including those partnering with NVIDIA. Everybody knows about NVIDIA, how big they are. And that they've signed up to train more than 13,000 graduating students in the area of AI and 900 startups in the area of AI. This is massive.
And this is a great, we can say, initiative. We're also taking a lot of development of data centers, initiative from the governments and also agency, and as you mentioned, the role of increasing, or we can say within the role to invest in AI R&D. Despite the strong initiative, Malaysia still faces challenges in innovation and commercialization. What are the key barriers and how can we address these gaps?
If we look at the gaps, and let me look at the gaps and explain the gaps and also the remedies, how to overcome these gaps. Otherwise, we will keep on talking about the gaps forever, right? I think when we talk about innovation and commercialization, the first thing that comes into mind is the bridging the valley of death. Every company will go through that particular phase, startup and growth, and some of them survive, a lot of them do not survive. Currently, from our research, only 3% research output reaches market global, which is, while the global average is 10%, the delta is 7%, that's peak. We at TIPM address this through prototyping labs, funding facilitation, and industry matchmaking platform, what we call as match. It's like a speed dating between people who have challenges or pain points and people who can provide the solution. And then there's also the funding availability, and then together they will come into play. But still, the numbers are quite small, unfortunately, in the context of Malaysia. Commercial success is not just about good technology, it requires distribution channels, market understanding, and strategic communication. Also, what's the solution? Gaps are quite identified, right? So what's the solution? We need to strengthen the university tech transfer offices across Malaysian universities, especially the public universities, the TTO office. What can we do? We need to embed marketing and commercial expertise early in R&D processes. This should mandate 30% industry reps on university grant boards. I think the close relationship between the industry and the academia is very key. We should launch ASEAN IP exchange with royalty split models. Since we are ASEAN chairman this particular year for 3 years, we need to come and initiate this kind of programs where there will be IP exchange for all this. And this can include all the ASEAN countries. We should revamp KPIs for university and GLC R&D arm. If we are just focused on publication volume, then it's not going to make it. We need to go beyond the publication as the KPI. Sometimes KPI can be very, very restrictive, and people will just, okay, let me write this article, and this article is being published here, and that's it. But is that addressing the innovation and all that? Not necessarily, and I think that is an important thing. Talent paradox and brain drain. I think Malaysia has been having a lot of issues with regards to brain drain. More than 500,000 talents have left the shores of Malaysia for the last 1 decade. And these are 27-year-old and above with the right skill, knowledge, and abilities. We need to solve this. And what do? We need to bring them back. We need to provide an avenue of creativity, avenue of innovation. And even if you look at the Malaysia's weak performance in knowledge and technology output, this one is reflected in GII systemic fragmentation. But we are ranked first in terms of science and engineering graduates. So that's an anomaly. So we need to address this by having a radical talent retention revolution. We need to change how we get things done. Fragmented ecosystem financing mismatch. This is something that I've always talked about. We need to move towards IOI-driven governance. What is IOI? Input, output, outcome, impact. We should not just stick to input and output. That means spending and that's it. But we want the outcome and impact associated with that expenditure. And of course, policy and governance gaps. I think the government, if you look at Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim in his maiden speech, he talked about the strategic trust. He kept on talking about digitalization, digital transformation. He talks about sunrise technologies, encouraging high value, high-paying job FDI. I think these are in the right trajectory, but the policies and governance must be addressed.
And also talking about bridging the gap between academia and industry is crucial for innovation. And how can Malaysia strengthen this collaboration to ensure that R&D efforts translate into commercial success?
I think as a starting point, we can look at the 4 areas of collaboration. I did talk about there must be a talent curriculum alignment. We need a curriculum 5.0, not 4.0. Even that 4.0, we're a little outdated. If you look at China, when they do curriculum adjustment, they do it every 6 months. We do it probably every 3 years. That's the problem. In technology space, things move rapidly. You may conclude writing a book today, and by the time it reaches the print, you need to rewrite the book. That's how fast the technology is evolving. So I think we urgently need to rethink curricula to incorporate real-world problem solving, work-integrated learning, internship and mentorship programs. I think this is very, very important. We need to encourage T-shaped skills, technical depth plus cross-disciplinary breadth. I think if we do not have that, if you look at just to keep pace with AI quantum demands, just to keep, AI quantum literacy is very important. Are we there in the quantum space? Maybe at a very infant stage. We do not even appear in the quantum map, not yet. So these are the things, if we really, truly align with the global trends, we need to really address the curriculum alignment. Reward commercialization KPIs, not just KPI of having programs, event management, attending lectures, or attending exhibition, attending conferences, and then, so every event you have, and then you close shop. No, that's not the way. You need to have, you need to reward commercialization KPIs. And this is something that another country like Singapore has mastered. And we need to learn from that. And then tripartite partnership between marketing firms, venture capital, and third-party collaboration in R&D. And these are very, very important component of making this commercialization work, because absence of one of them means you will have a problem. And in Malaysia, TIPM Meranti, we have established a National Technology Innovation Sandbox, where we fast-track approval, regulatory flexibility are there for university spin-offs. This is exactly following the Japan example, especially regulated sectors like healthcare, drones, or fintech. I think that we are there. We need to up the ante and to get things done faster, quicker. And nowadays we talk about quantum speed. It's no longer just sit down and have coffee and curry puff and meat and PowerPoint presentation and so on. No more. We need to act on it.
Act on it faster, quicker, and to take a look on the Malaysia presence at Mobile World Congress MWC Barcelona 2025 is an opportunity to showcase its success story and engage in global collaboration. From your perspective, how can Malaysia strengthen its position on the global stage, and what key lessons should we learn from leading tech nations to accelerate our innovation ecosystem especially?
I have actually attended Mobile World Congress before. And I am going to attend Mobile World Congress come next week. And in fact, I will be speaking in that Congress on AI, 5G, and from the ASEAN perspective. Now, if you look at the opportunities and strategic messaging at MWC for us, for Malaysia, we can look at the 6 main areas. First of which is going to be, we need to highlight our success stories. There are many success stories that we have achieved in the last few years, especially the data center boom, 5G use cases. We've used, and in fact, in TIPM Meranti, we have our own 5G experience center, which became a nucleus for many POCs across agri-tech and health tech, and AI-driven precision farming pilots. I think these are good things that we need to showcase. We need to continue to promote active neutrality. You know now that President Trump has certain views about the world. He has America first, and then he has many things that he keeps on saying. But I always tell people, don't listen to what he says, but listen, see what he does. And when you see what he does, there are certain things that he does very quickly. We need to position Malaysia as a Switzerland of AI. That means completely independent, actively neutral party to artificial intelligence, leveraging active neutrality to host US cloud giants. We have AWS, Googles of the world, and Microsoft and so on, while having a close relationship with also their counterparty. But we become the most neutral ground for AI technologies. So I think this is important to be showcased in this Mobile World Congress. Leveraging ASEAN Gateway is another thing. We have 680 million market. It's a massive market. ASEAN is very peaceful, relatively peaceful. We have a prosperous economy. We need to showcase how we foster cross-border collaboration. As an ASEAN chair, we have that particular abilities to do now. And again, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has spoke about how to go across creating the power grid across ASEAN, digitization or digital transformation across ASEAN. That's another thing. Talent magnetism. We need to keep on talking about digital nomad valley with 10-year tax holidays. I think this is important. Offer equity-based visas for AI founders. These are the things that we need to talk about. Recently, Trump came up with the $5 billion visa gateway to citizenship in America. So what he's trying to do is that they're trying to bring all these businesses, entrepreneurs, techpreneurs, and all that to the US, bring the money in and create economic activity and so on. So we need to think out of the box. Every country is moving in a certain direction. Now, lessons from a leading nation. Who are the leading nation in this space? We have Korea, we have China, we have the US, we have, but let's look at what South Korea, Germany, and EU can help refine our approach to talent development. So South Korea, Germany anchor educational reform to sustain a strong pipeline of skilled workers. This is to apply to our to bridge our digital skills gap. And this is a issue. We have a serious issue in the area of brain drain. Enough research has been done. South Korea, for instance, came up with 111 R&D model, where government, Chabol, SME co-founding, they foster close relationship. You cannot work alone. Again, you must remember the famous football team, Liverpool. You never walk alone, right? So you need to work together to make sure to make it happen. Kalau tidak, there will be a big problem and there will be serious gaps. And now we are in the very good position. Our FDI has grown phenomenally, and in this area of technology, you have a prime minister who really understands the need for such things and provide those support system and infrastructure within Malaysia. I think we're in the right time, right trajectory. Only that we need to intensify that, the gegenpress it, intensify this thing and not wait on it that something will happen.
Dato', looking ahead, other than fostering stronger collaboration cross-border, what are Malaysia's top priorities for 2025 and beyond? How do you envision Malaysia's tech landscape evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, in the technology space, you cannot talk about 5 to 10 years, boss. Why? Because technology evolves so fast. As I said, few months ago, or maybe 1 or 2 years ago, the GPU speed for AI was merely hundreds of thousands. Today, it goes into trillions, and you see how fast it evolves. So I think, generally speaking, we can cluster that into 6 top priorities to me. Number 1, we continue with our digital transformation and infrastructure. We need to work on a proper 5G networks. We want to prioritize broadband. Data centers must be energy tech convergence, making sure that data centers are just not energy consumers, but also put in the green factor as well. Prioritize our My Digital 25.5% GDP target by 2025 through SME digitization. I think the SME digitization is very important, and 5G expansion is also important to fast track the SMEs. 5G is not for all. It is for SMEs, it's for the science parks, technology parks, it's for IoT-enabled businesses. This is important. Prioritize digital inclusion by expanding affordable high-speed internet access and enhancing digital literacy. These are all big words. We need to have a backhaul to reach all density. And Industry 4.0 adoption in manufacturing. In Malaysia, our adoption is not very high yet. We need AI to come in. AI brings in a lot of efficiency and effectiveness in production and so on. Number 2, sustainability, green technologies I've spoken about. I think most of the data centers today make it a condition that there should be a sustainability and green technologies incorporated in the provisioning of data centers. Education and talent development, I cannot emphasize more. This is very critical. To have a future-ready nation, we need future-ready workforce. We need the strengthening of STEM education. This is a continuous process and also involve the curriculum development. A radical talent retention revolution. How do we retain the talent? How do we retain the talent from continuously going over to other countries? And inclusive innovation and ecosystem governance. Remember, I talked about IOOI model. Every money that we spend, it must have the outcome and desired impact to the society and the nation. It cannot be just organizing events or exhibition and conferences and all that, but must go beyond that.
Dato' Rais, left with only less than 1 minute. Maybe you can share with us, for Malaysia to truly become the gateway to innovation, what mindset shift, policy or strategies do we need to prioritize moving forward?
Okay, so 1 minute. Foster a culture of ingenuity. We need to transition from follow the leader. We've been always the follower, and to one that celebrate local ingenuity and risk-taking. I think this is critical. adopt a global perspective. Like in Sweden, for instance, they never do any product services just for Sweden or Scandinavia. Their perspective is always global. Regulatory and fiscal reforms, this is very critical from the governance perspective. Strive for digital sovereignty. We cannot depend on everything digital from outside the nation. We should have our expertise, know-how, and those wherewithal inbuilt in Malaysia through the education and training and all that. And finally, measuring and tracking what matters. This is back to the IOI model. If we do not do, if we just keep spending and spending and spending without measuring what is the outcome and impact to the society and the nation, money will be wasted. I think this IOI model must be incorporated in every GLC, government agency, hatta even the administration, because we cannot afford to continue to spend without the outcome and impact very clearly stated and measured.
All right, again, we can hope Malaysia continues to strengthen its position as a leader in innovation and technology in the ASEAN region. Again, I would say thank you very much to our guest, Dato' Rais Hussein Muhammad Arif, the Chief Executive Officer of Meranti, and definitely all of our discussion here will be featured in astroawani.com and across all social media platforms.
Hidupkan Ramadan dengan pengisian penuh bermakna.
Kasih sayang Allah mentakdirkan sesuatu dengan kuasanya.
Syukuri nikmat kurniaan yang Maha Esa.
Minta ajar Mak mengaji.
Berdoa pula dalam solat kita makbul, insya-Allah.
Terokai keindahan dan keunikan pelbagai budaya untuk dijadikan sebagai inspirasi.
Ada pengorbanan banget. Yang penting berkah.
Alhamdulillah. Perkongsian tips masakan bersama selebriti terkenal.
Life is beautiful and you are beautiful too.
Drama yang penuh emosi untuk dijadikan iktibar.
Hani sudah, Hani kena minta maaf.
Baik buruk you sekarang, I terima seadanya. Cinta tu kan daripada hati.
Agama tu tiang hidup kita.
Ramadan ini indahnya lain macam bersama Astro.
Apa khabar? Saya Ibrahim Sani. Sekarang ini saya berada di ASEAN Big Wangsa Maju untuk menghadiri proses penjenamaan ataupun majlis penjenamaan semula Setiawangsa Rangers kepada KL Rangers FC. Ini adalah antara usaha yang telah pun dilakukan oleh grassroots football dekat Kuala Lumpur, dan kita akan pastikan bahawa pergerakan dan usaha untuk merakyatkan dan memajmukkan football di peringkat grassroots dapat tercapai. Ini adalah antara perkara yang akan dilaksanakan. Itu pun telah kita tetapkan bahawa penjenamaan semula football club ini akan dirasmikan oleh Yang Berhormat Nik Nazmi, Ahli Parlimen Setiawangsa dan juga Menteri NRES ataupun Sumber Asli dan Kelestarian Alam. Dan antara perkara yang kita nak lihat adalah tentang apakah perkembangan penjenamaan semula ini, apakah dia cabaran yang akan dihadapi oleh pasukan-pasukan kelab bola di Kuala Lumpur, dan apakah potensi dan juga kelainan yang akan dibawa oleh kelab-kelab bola sepak di peringkat amateur untuk Kuala Lumpur. Ini adalah antara perkara yang kita akan rungkaikan dalam 20 minit ataupun 30 minit yang mendatang ini. Tetapi apa yang pasti adalah kita kalau hendak merakyatkan lagi kesukanan dan juga merakyatkan lagi ekonomi pada peringkat akar umbi, perkara dan aktiviti seperti ini adalah antara perkara yang paling penting untuk kita laksanakan. Ayo kita saksikan rancangan ini. Jadi kita mulakan dengan sembang kita dengan guest pertama, iaitu Kusyari Aizat, pengarah teknikal kepada KL Rangers FC dan bagaimana dia sebagai bekas pemain Selangor membentuk perkembangan dan pembangunan masyarakat melalui bola sepak. Dan kita tanya juga dekat Kusyari Aizat ni tentang apakah hasrat beliau untuk lihat KL Rangers FC pergi jauh sampai mana.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Saya Kusyari Aizat. Saya merupakan pengarah teknikal untuk KL Rangers FC ini. Tapi sebelum ini saya bergerak sebagai presiden bagi kelab bola sepak Setiawangsa Rangers. Bermulanya pada tahun 2018 hingga hari ini penjenamaan kepada pasukan baru iaitu Kuala Lumpur Rangers FC.
Dan mungkin pengalaman Aizat juga tentang peranan bola sepak pada Akaumbi dan juga tahun-tahun sebelum ini?
Ya, saya bermula di peringkat Akaumbi sejak tahun 2011 lagi di kawasan AU5 di Lembah Keramat. Ketika itu juga saya memimpin satu akademi bola sepak komuniti. Sehinggalah tahun 2018 saya berjumpa dengan YB Nik Nazmi ketika itu dan kita bersama-sama minat bola sepak dan kita merencanakan agenda bola sepak dan wujudnya nama kelab bola sepak Setiawangsa Rangers ketika itu. Dan dalam masa yang sama juga, masa itu saya juga seorang pemain bola sepak bermain untuk pasukan negeri Selangor ketika tahun 2014 dan juga pasukan Selangor Asia All Star FC bermain dalam Liga Liga FM ketika itu.
Kenapa tak teruskan kerjaya dekat dalam bola sepak?
Dan saya nampak ketika itu saya mendapat kecederaan yang serius. Kemudian apa yang saya fikir panjang, kita minat dalam bola sepak lagi tetapi apa yang kita boleh buat adalah kita boleh berbakti kepada masyarakat semula dalam apa yang bidang kita minat bola sepak. Sudah tentunya selepas habis sebagai profesional bola sepak, saya pergi ke kelas kejurulatian bola sepak untuk dapatkan CJ jurulatih untuk mengajar di akademi. Seterusnya saya pergi kursus di bawah Pesuruhjaya Sukan Malaysia untuk belajar menguruskan badan sukan, macam mana nak menguruskan pentadbiran badan sukan, dan hari ini saya berjaya menguruskannya dalam masa 11 tahun berkecimpung dalam bidang bola sepak Akar Umbi ini, termasuk dengan terbaru penjenamaan KL Rangers ini.
Saya nak ambil poin tadi, masyarakat dan juga bola sepak, ya, ia tak boleh berpisah.
Betul.
Dan ini adalah antara, mungkin kita semua minat football tapi pembinaan masyarakat tu, mungkin Aizat boleh ceritakan tentang pengalaman sebagai selaku Presiden Setiawangsa Rangers, bagaimana ia telah membentuk masyarakat untuk lebih baik.
Pertama sekali kita memberikan pendedahan dari segi sudut ilmu bola sepak kepada anak-anak. Maksudnya di sini penglibatan ibu bapa, komuniti setempat yang menghantar anak-anak mereka bermain ataupun belajar bola sepak di akademi kami. Jadi di situ kami memberikan pendedahan kepada mereka dari sudut latihan dan dalam masa sama kita beri pendedahan kepada mereka dalam bentuk pertandingan di peringkat komuniti dan juga di peringkat negeri juga. Kita memberi mereka peluang dan platform kepada mereka untuk bermain untuk pasukan kami. Dan alhamdulillah rata-rata pemain ini dah beraksi bukan hanya di peringkat komuniti tetapi di peringkat negeri dan juga kebangsaan.
And then of course kita nak cerita pasal hari ini.
Ya.
Penjenamaan semula KL Rangers, kenapa dan apakah objektif dan matlamat ingin dicapai?
Ya, sudah tentunya objektif kali ini kita ingin membesarkan lagi kita punya dari skop pasukan bola sepak kita, di mana sebelum ini kita hanya fokus kepada satu kawasan saja iaitu di Setiawangsa, tetapi kita nampak peluang yang kita untuk melebarkan sayap lagi di peringkat Kuala Lumpur itu, dan kita mahu pengalaman yang ada sebelum ini kita bawa ke kawasan-kawasan yang lain juga. Kita mahu mereka merasai suasana menjadi keluarga Rangers ini, dan itu kita jenamakan sebagai Kuala Lumpur Rangers. Dan kita juga akan bersaing di peringkat yang tertinggi juga kerana kita dah 6 tahun beraksi di peringkat komuniti dan sudah masanya untuk kita bawa pemain-pemain ini ke level yang lebih tinggi lagi.
Jadi selaku pengarah teknikal, apakah tanggungjawab Aizat dalam kelab bola sepak ini?
Ya, tentunya mereka di peringkat atasan memberi tanggungjawab kepada saya untuk menguruskan dari segi sudut pembangunan bola sepak, dan dalam masa sama juga memberikan fokus kepada saya untuk menguruskan dan untuk mentadbirkan pasukan bola sepak wanita yang akan bermain di Liga Wanita Nasional, kelolaan daripada FAM lah. So tahun ini kita akan menyertai Liga Wanita Nasional dan juga Liga Puteri di bawah saya, dan dalam masa sama juga untuk pasukan senior yang dia akan bermain di Liga Amatur A2.
Alright, fantastic. Akhir kata tentang acara ini?
Ya, harapan saya lah. Harapan saya sudah tentunya kita dah bermula pada tahun 2018 lagi, dan saya mahukan 2025 adalah satu kemuncak kepada Rangers ini ataupun pasukan Kuala Lumpur Rangers ini untuk mencipta nama, dan saya ingin beri lebih lagi kepada pemain-pemain ini untuk dapat pendedahan yang lebih banyak lagi. Sudah tentunya LWN Liga Wanita Nasional ini merupakan satu platform kepada wanita untuk bermain untuk pasukan kebangsaan. Sudah tentunya 2027 Malaysia akan menjadi tuan rumah untuk Sukan C, dan saya mahukan bola sepak wanita ini di kalangan Kuala Lumpur Rangers ini, pemain ini boleh mewakili pasukan kebangsaan melalui platform LWN dan mewakili pasukan Kuala Lumpur Rangers.
Kita dah dengar dah tadi bagaimana Kusyari Aizat cerita tentang perkembangan dan pembangunan sayap-sayap di KL Rangers ini, termasuk pembangunan bola sepak wanita. So kita akan bersama dengan Nina Azman selepas ini untuk melihat dan mendengar sendiri tentang former national player kita Nina Azman tentang bagaimana KL Rangers ingin membangunkan bola sepak wanita. Kita kembali selepas ini.
Penyasaran subsidi diesel di Semenanjung tidak akan memberi kesan kepada harga barangan keperluan di Sabah, Sarawak dan Labuan.
660 individu berusia bawah 21 tahun di Sarawak telah diberikan kewarganegaraan.
Sarawak kini menjalinkan kerjasama dengan Bank Dunia dalam menjayakan perdagangan karbonnya.
Okey, kita kembali di ASEAN Big Wangsa Maju untuk melihat dengan mata kita sendiri tentang penjenamaan semula KL Rangers FC. Sebentar tadi kita pun telah mendengar keluhan dan juga inspiration daripada pengarah teknikal KL Rangers FC. Sekarang ini kita nak dengar pula tentang apakah dia peranan football wanita di Malaysia dan bagaimana kita boleh lihat perkembangan pembangunan bola sepak wanita boleh berkembang dengan lebih pesat lagi di Kuala Lumpur. Di sini kita bertemu ramah Nina Azman, bekas pemain wanita skuad kebangsaan, dan tanyakan sendiri tentang beliau bagaimana kita boleh bangunkan lagi pembangunan bola sepak wanita.
Okay, saya Nina Azman, atau orang kata nama sebenar saya Rozman binti Azman, dikenali sebagai Nina Azman sebagai goalkeeper. So Nina adalah bekas pemain kebangsaan bola sepak wanita. So sepanjang Nina berada di bola sepak wanita ni, Nina pernah mewakili negara untuk AFF Championship, AFC bawah 21 dan juga SEA Games 2013 dan 2017.
Jadi untuk memartabatkan pembangunan bola sepak di masyarakat, Nina juga antara spokesperson yang terunggul dalam bola sepak wanita. Mungkin boleh ceritakan sikit tentang pengalaman untuk membangunkan bola sepak wanita di Malaysia?
Of course, pasti ada kesukaran sepanjang Nina berada di dalam area bola sepak wanita ni. Daripada orang kata daripada 2005 kita punya support yang kurang, dana yang kurang, makin lama makin grow. So this is one of yang Nina cuba ketengahkan. Nina bersama rakan-rakan lain cuba ketengahkan apa yang kita boleh buat untuk pasukan, which is kita support daripada yang kecil lah. Maknanya kita build satu team untuk orang kata apa, mencapai satu kualiti untuk skuad nasional. Sebab kalau tak ada team, tak ada juga atlet-atlet untuk pergi ke skuad nasional. So this is one of yang kita bagi juga.
Of course, pembangunan akar umbi grassroots itu sangat-sangat penting. Betul. Everybody knows this, tapi tak ramai yang boleh buat dengan elok.
Betul.
Apakah cabaran yang sedang dihadapi? Bukan saja wanita, I suppose national team juga.
Betul. Sebab apa yang kita dapat lihat, pemain-pemain, of course daripada parents sendiri juga, dan daripada segi pemain-pemain juga, kita perlu lebih ramai. Macam perempuan sendiri, daripada akar umbi, kita tengok berapa ramai sahajalah yang willing untuk berada dekat orang kata apa, dalam arena bola sepak ni. So dekat situlah pembangunan yang kita perlu lihat. Kita perlu bagi peluang, ruang kepada mereka, mana diorang nak ketengahkan bakat diorang. So this is one of yang kita boleh, orang kata apa, kita boleh bagi platform.
Jadi tadi Aizat ada bilang yang dia ada hasrat untuk bawa tim wanita daripada KL Rangers itself untuk menjadi wakil-wakil pemain wanita peringkat nasional di peringkat Sukan C. Very important to have a vision, tapi apakah cabaran yang harus ditempuhi untuk memastikan bahawa hasrat sebegini tercapai?
Okey, yang pertama sekali juga kita dapat lihat pemain wanita ni sebenarnya daripada pelbagai negeri, pelbagai tempat tau. So KL ni adalah sebenarnya banyak yang melahirkan orang kata apa, bakat-bakat, tapi diorang tak ada platform, diorang tak tahu, banyak yang bersepah-sepah. Jadi KL Rangers ni antara one of yang kita nak diorang nampak kita boleh hasilkan ke arah yang lebih tinggi. Mungkin orang kata mana nak pergi dan tak tahu daripada grassroots sampai ke atas. So KL tak ada lagi. So kat sinilah yang kita nak start untuk grow benda ni. So jadi kat sini kita nak pemain semua ialah, of course kita kena buat, orang kata bukanlah gempak, tapi kita nak orang tahu. Sometimes benda-benda ni orang tak tahu. Kat mana ada ke dan sebagainya. So kat sinilah yang kita nak benchmarkkan benda ni untuk pergi ke national level.
Orang cakap the biggest problem in football is money, betul ke?
Of course, mana? Saya rasa bukan football je. Mana-mana state, mana-mana sport, mana-mana perkara pun sebenarnya money itu adalah perkara yang orang kata yang menjadi satu cabaran. Tapi kita sebenarnya kena ada idea dan cara yang macam mana nak mengatasi. Of course, kita akan cuba sebaik-baik mungkin macam mana nak dapatkan dana-dana dan sebagainya, dan kita olahkan dia bagaimana yang bersesuaian dengan orang kata apa, nak guna untuk apa dan sebagainya.
Okey, finally, apa hasrat Nina dalam melalui acara penjenamaan semula dan juga hasrat Nina sebagai seorang former national player, adakah ini dapat membantu masyarakat secara amnya dan juga spesifik goals yang Nina nak mencari?
Okey, macam Nina berhasrat untuk players kita berada di orang kata di satu tempat yang level yang berbeza. Maknanya okey, mungkin tim pasukan tu national team tu kita panjang perjalanan, tapi sebenarnya individu pun kita boleh lahirkan juga daripada bawah ni, daripada grassroots ni. Daripada Nina sendiri pun, Nina berharap ada wanita-wanita kat luar sana yang nak involve. Maknanya nak datang dan bermain dan orang kata apa, loyalty kepada KL ni kan, untuk perform well dekat dalam women's ni. So Nina harap ada player-players yang kita dapat syokir bangkat lah daripada sini untuk bawa mereka ke level yang lebih tinggi lah.
Itu dia pandangan yang telah diberikan oleh bekas pemain skuad kebangsaan wanita kita, Nina Azman. Kita break sekejap dan kembali nanti kita cerita panjang pula dengan pengarah board of director daripada KL Rangers FC. Nanti Mimi boleh
Uniform Tentera Darat Malaysia TADM bagi peserta program latihan khidmat negara tidak seharusnya menjadi isu hangat.
Jenayah penipuan pelaburan mencatatkan jumlah kerugian tertinggi pada tahun ini setakat 2 Februari lalu.
Kementerian Pendidikan memandang serius isu peningkatan trend penggunaan rokok elektronik.
Lembaga Lebuh Raya Malaysia LLM memperluaskan larangan kenderaan berat memasuki lebuh raya pada waktu puncak di beberapa jajaran terpilih di sekitar Lembah Kelam.
Segalanya kini terarah ke kemuncak Liga. Tiada lagi detik untuk menoleh ke belakang. Setiap satu perlawanan adalah penentu kedudukan.
Akan pantas berbahaya. Cantik.
Semangat perjuangan tidak pernah pudar. Sokonglah sepenuhnya demi Liga kita. Liga Super secara langsung di Astro.
Okey, terima kasih kerana teruskan bersama kita. Kita sekarang tengah menyaksikan penjenamaan semula KL Rangers FC. Kita sekarang nak sembang panjang dengan pengarah Board of Director KL Rangers FC, Rahman Imuda.
Saya Rahman Imuda, merupakan pengarah kepada Kuala Lumpur Rangers Sendirian Berhad.
Jadi kalau kita nak tahu objektif dan matlamat tentang rebranding ni, mungkin Rahman boleh cerita sikit?
Sebenarnya elok kalau kita cerita tentang situasi Rangers dulu. Situasi Rangers adalah kelab bola sepak yang diasaskan oleh YB Nik Nazmi pada tahun 2018 di Sidoarjo ketika dia jadi ahli parlimen. Kemudian kami dapat idea untuk kita luaskan capaian kerana ada banyak program-program yang baik bukan sahaja dalam Padang tapi program-program di luar Padang. Misalnya pada tahun 2019 Situasi Rangers adakan satu program kita panggil Projek Mentari yang mana projek ni menggabungkan aktiviti di dalam aktiviti di padang dan aktiviti di dalam kelas. Jadi kita inginkan capaian yang lebih besar bukan sahaja di Sitawangsa tapi seluruh Kuala Lumpur. So itu idenya mengapa kita rebrand kepada KL Rangers.
Jadi kalau rebranding ni mungkin proses dia tentang berapa lama nak rebranding dan sponsor pula macam mana, lepas tu jersey pula macam mana. Maybe Rahman boleh ceritakan sikit?
Ia akan mengambil sedikit masa kerana Sitawangsa Rangers didaftarkan sebagai badan sukan. So bila kita masuk ke Kuala Lumpur Rangers, kita nak daftarkan dia sebagai entiti korporat iaitu sendirian berhad. Sekarang ni kalau perasan jersey ni belum ada apa-apa penaja lagi kerana kita dalam proses rundingan dengan beberapa badan korporat dan antaranya AWANI Big yang hari ini sudi menaja tempat untuk kita merasmikan jersey. Jadi ia akan mengambil sedikit masa, tapi alhamdulillah syukur sebab kita ada bulan Ramadan yang mana kebanyakan liga akan bermula selepas bulan Ramadan. Dan kita akan manfaatkan period bulan Ramadan tu untuk berbincang dengan badan-badan korporat untuk tajaan.
Mungkin Rahman boleh cerita sikit tentang pengalaman Rahman tentang grassroots football di Sabah, di serata Malaysia dan apa impact dia dekat sana dan sini dan apa yang kita boleh lihat ataupun your aspiration tentang program ini.
Sedikit background tentang saya ada Akademi Bola Sepak di Tawau Sabah yang mana dari segi status sosial, demografi masyarakat agak berbeza dengan apa yang ada di Lembah Kelang. Jadi saya nampak sebenarnya sekiranya kita betul-betul mempunyai perancangan yang baik, kita boleh mewujudkan bukan sahaja Akademi Bola Sepak Akar Umbi, tapi satu kelab lokal ataupun local club yang mampu berdiri di kaki sendiri kerana kita tahu Lembah Kelang purchasing powernya sangat besar dan potensinya sangat besar.
And then of course KL, element KL, Kuala Lumpur tu mungkin membawa satu aspek yang kelainan. Mungkin Rahman boleh menceritakan tentang efek itu?
Ya, benar. So sekarang ni Kuala Lumpur adalah ibu negara Malaysia. Jadi kita tahu bila kita cakap KL, pada pandangan peribadi saya tidak lihat lagi kelab-kelab yang membuatkan penyokong. Ini kelab kita kata kelab amatur bukan KL City, kelab-kelab amatur yang membuatkan orang KL rasa okey ini kelab aku. So itu yang kita cuba capai melalui penjenamaan semula Sitawangsa Rangers ni kepada Kuala Lumpur Rangers. Kita nak peminat bola sepak Kuala Lumpur ada rasa sense of belonging terhadap suatu kelab dan kita harap kelab itu adalah kelab inilah, kelab Kuala Lumpur Rangers FC.
Akhir sekali mungkin ada beberapa layers, ada tim wanita, tim youth pula ada under 18, 15 dan sebagainya. Mungkin apa hasrat Rahman untuk saksikan pertumbuhan sayap-sayap ini?
Ya, betul. So Kuala Lumpur Rangers seperti mana kelab-kelab amatur yang lain, kita ada sekurang-kurangnya 3 cabang utama iaitu senior team yang kita berhasrat untuk bertanding di Liga Amatur A2. Kemudian kita ada bola sepak wanita yang mana pasukan seniornya akan bertanding di peringkat Liga Wanita Nasional. Tahun ini kita telah mendaftarkan pasukan itu dan kita ada Liga Puteri untuk pasukan wanita underage. Kemudian sudah tentu kita akan ada satu lagi pasukan development underage U17, U15, U9 dan mereka akan terlibat dengan liga-liga akar umbi yang ada di sekitar Lembah Kelang lah.
Baik. Ada kata terakhir?
Sokonglah Kuala Lumpur Rangers. Okey.
Untuk membangunkan mana-mana masyarakat, semuanya bermula di akar umbi. Kegiatan seperti pembangunan bola sepak pada peringkat akar umbi adalah antara usaha yang jelas dan efektif dan bersejarah. Kerana kita pun telah lihat bagaimana usaha seperti pembangunan Sitawangsa Rangers pada dahulu kala dan kini KL Rangers FC yang akan mengorak langkah tentang bagaimana kita boleh bantu masyarakat setempat, terutamanya masyarakat di Kuala Lumpur untuk menjadi sebuah masyarakat yang lebih efektif, yang lebih bermasyarakat dan berhemah dan juga membangunkan pelbagai cabang-cabang seperti sayap youth dan remaja dan juga wanita dan juga men's adults. Ini adalah antara usaha yang telah dijalankan dan sedang dijalankan. Jadi kalau nak dapatkan maklumat lanjut, sila cari KL Rangers FC di semua laman sosial media dan juga teruskan dengan Astro AWANI kerana kita akan cover story macam ni dengan lebih padat lagi. Saya Ibrahim Sani, signing out.
Allahumma salli ala al-Mustafa. Hidupkan Ramadan dengan pengisian penuh bermakna.
Kasih sayang Allah mentakdirkan sesuatu dengan kuasanya.
Syukuri nikmat kurniaan yang Maha Esa.
Minta ajar Mak mengaji.
Berdoa pula dalam solat kita, makbul, insya-Allah.
Terokai keindahan dan keunikan pelbagai budaya untuk dijadikan sebagai inspirasi.
Ada pengorbanan banget. Yang penting berkat.
Alhamdulillah. Perkongsian tips masakan bersama selebriti terkenal.
Life is beautiful and you are beautiful too.
Drama yang penuh emosi untuk dijadikan iktibar.
Hani sudah, Hani kena minta maaf.
Baik buruk you sekarang, I terima seadanya. Cinta tu kan daripada hati.
Agama tu tiang hidup kita.
Ramadan ini indahnya lain macam bersama Astro.
This is going to be a year with a lot of important policy shifts around the world. So focusing on how you can build resilience in your economy to these developments is going to be absolutely critical.
There are clear systemic distortions which stand in the way of progress, and we as the global health community have to collaborate a lot better to make sure that we speak with one voice and we are very deliberate in addressing those systemic distortions.
I think good decision making is top of the list. I think realizing that we are entering a new cycle, and I think it's going to be easy to fall back into some old habits and to forget some of the lessons I think that we've all learned. It's going to be easy to fall into recency bias. And I think that's probably the single biggest thing that investors need to be thinking about this year, is not to fall prey to those.
Human well-being, life, safety, freedom, happiness, knowledge. It's what we all claim for ourselves. It's what, and unless we think that each one of us is special, why should we deny to others what we claim for ourselves? It's also what is just a prerequisite to everything else, to having this conversation. We're alive, we're well enough fed and well enough educated and healthy enough to be thinking these thoughts, as opposed to worrying about our next meal or our very existence.
The marketplaces are shifting faster, and there are more geopolitical questions that are getting raised. And so these technology changes, these political changes, and certainly all of the shifts in the skilling and human capital side are such that really having that adaptive spirit, I think, is going to be key. Not being so fixed or having a fixed mindset, but more of a growth mindset or an adaptive mindset is going to be particularly critical in this year.
You can't do anything about the future if you don't get there. So take care of yourself and give yourself a chance to be well and be part of the future and contribute to the solutions that the world needs.
I think fears are the most significant cause of problems in today's world. Human beings are afraid of losing the control in AI. AI is the amplifier of the human trait. So if you have fear, so the AI will be trained to have to amplify the fear. So understanding the fear in myself, particularly for those who have big power and influence, is very important to mitigate and even reduce the crisis in the world.
Como está la salud hoy en día, que es poco precaria. Tú vas aquí al hospital, como que el tiempo de ir y hacer una cola ya, y a ver si el médico te logra atender o llegar, porque tienen cierta hora para atender. Entonces, en el momento en que llega un hospital móvil acá, pues se le da la oportunidad a esa persona a tener un cuidado, ¿no?
Viniendo de Venezuela no fue tan fácil. Me vine embarazada porque me estaban trayendo dificultades en el embarazo y no me podían dar la salud exacta que yo necesitaba.
In Colombia, in that case, the country was dealing with a large influx of women and population coming from Venezuela. We're kind of leaving the country and trying to build a new home and a new future for themselves in Colombia. And for these women, they have, as you can imagine, maybe the least access to healthcare services because they live in communities which are more moving around. Women spend about 25% more of their life in bad health than men do. It's extremely important that we create awareness around this, that women are not just smaller men, and that there may be diseases which affect women in a very different way and express themselves in a very different way. So if you take the example of Vietnam and breast cancer screening there, we're not only working on concepts where we partner with healthcare providers to bring the scanning and the diagnosis closer to where the women live, but we're also working a lot on training people who then can do a better job in terms of making the diagnosis, helping with the follow-up. If you look at the number of CT scanners installed in a richer OECD country versus a more developing country, there's maybe 7 times as many scanners available to serve the population. When you then look at the number of experts, be it radiologists or technologists, that can actually help to make the best diagnosis for the patients, that factor is maybe a factor of 20. And that gives you a sense that any solution which can help address this skills gap and which can make technology accessible, because you're not limited by the number of people you have who know how to operate or how to use the information, can make a huge difference.
They've been massively overlooked. They're responsible for half of global warming so far, and nobody's really paying any attention. Black carbon or soot is what happens when a fuel or something is only partially combusted. Bits of black particles are coming out, and you can see that when you see black smoke coming out of an exhaust pipe or a chimney, or when you make a fire. And because it's black, and it's black bits of stuff in the atmosphere, it's absorbing heat and then it's re-radiating it. So it's very warming for the climate. But when ozone is closer to the ground, it's called tropospheric ozone, it's actually really bad for climate change because it's a greenhouse gas, for our health because it really affects our lungs and respiratory systems, and actually for agriculture. It really harms crop production and reduces crop yields up to more than 25%. So for all of these reasons, we do not want ozone close to the ground in the troposphere. So a solution could be electric vehicles. Another one is burning crop stubble in farms or burning waste in the open air. And then the chemical industry produces a lot of volatile organic compounds, and they're not tackled at all by any air pollution or climate change protocol. So that's a real low-hanging fruit to tackle if you start to look at super pollutants. Methane is the one super pollutant that has had a bit of attention so far through things like the Global Methane Pledge, where countries have been voluntarily choosing to reduce their emissions. And the way that they do it is from sectors like agriculture, so different feeds for cows, for example, so that they emit less methane, through stopping oil and gas leaks, and through reducing landfill and landfill sites, which often are emitting methane as the waste decomposes. Through the Alliance for Clean Air, which the World Economic Forum is a secretariat for, 20 businesses have committed to measure and reduce their air pollution footprint. And just one example, IKEA, are working out where the super pollutants are in their supply chain and where they could target climate change mitigation to reduce them the fastest. This year, for the first time, the Global Risks Report that the World Economic Forum produces has a chapter on pollution. And what we've seen is that the 900 business leaders, civil society leaders and politicians that fill in this survey about what they think are the world's biggest risks are seeing pollution as both a short and a long-term risk. One of the reasons for that is that in terms of health, air pollution has overtaken smoking as a cause of death for the first time. So we're seeing more than 8 million deaths a year from air pollution, which is more than tobacco.
So we have deaths, we have new infections. But we also have some good news. And the good news is that we have a new and powerful tool that can prevent, that can help us to end new infections so that we focus on the 40 million who need to be on treatment. Trials were done in Africa, in Latin America, around the world, and amazingly, lenacapavir proved to be 100% efficient amongst heterosexual couples, for young women. Young women in Africa and girls are the most at risk. In fact, out of every 7 new infections amongst adolescents, 6 new infections are of girls. And this medicine, lenacapavir, this long-acting injectable, once every 6 months, allows people whose rights are denied to go just twice a year, quietly somewhere, and get what they need. They are not swallowing tablets every day and being seen. They are not reporting to clinics all the time to get refills. Once in 6 months, they get what they need, and then they are not facing stigma and discrimination. Think about a young girl in Africa who is now 13 and is seeing men, boys coming to her, making forceful advances for sex. She will not be swallowing tablets every day just in case she's raped. No. But if she knows she's at risk and there's an injection every 6 months, she may go and get it. We want to work with these companies to move fast and at scale, and that means licensing many generic companies in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, where new infections are rising, so that production is everywhere and prices come down first.
Awam, serta medan selera di BKL yang bersesuaian. Dan setiap lokasi ini kita benarkan mereka beroperasi di antara 9 pagi hingga 12 malam. Bergantung pada jenis persembahan dan juga kesesuaian kawasan tersebut. Dan way forward kita dengan izin ke hadapan Jabatan Belia Persekutuan akan juga mengadakan sesi temu rapat bersama penggiat seni pada